Hi everyone. Okay, so welcome to my attempt at making an Anzac Day wreath. Now, the materials that you'll need really depend on how extra you want to be with your wreath. I am going for a minimum spend, maximum output, rustic kind of feel. And I really like wreaths that are not curated and really neat and tidy. I think the really neat and tidy ones are beautiful, but just personally, the appeal for me is the kind of rough one. So if you're going for, I guess, something that's going to take a little bit more time, or something that's a little bit neater, you are going to probably need some more materials, because I can tell you right now I have two things: the wire and the foliage. But you could get yourself a glue gun with some glue sticks, and go to town. Really, it's about your imagination. And the beautiful thing about a wreath is you just really can't mess it up. You'll end up with something, I think, that's quite beautiful. So, materials. I have a wire coat hanger. I had one in the wardrobe. You could untwist this, just get some pliers to make it a little bit bigger. But I actually really like the hook, and I'm going to use it because I've got a hook on my front door, so I can just hook it on when it's finished. So again, it's really up to you. So obviously it wasn't this shape when I pulled it out. I've just started working it a little bit so that it is more circular shaped. Again, you're not looking for a perfect circle unless you're that way inclined, in which case that's okay. But I'm just looking for something that's more functional. So just keep working it and bending it into the shape that you want. It's going to have a hard kink on each of the corners because, it was a hard bend to make the triangle. But you could probably get rid of that. All right. So this is, I'm pretty happy with this. The way that I'm doing my wreath, because it's quite rustic, it doesn't, you're not going to be able to tell that it's a little bit funky. So I'm happy. Okay, my materials, I'll show you. We've got, okay, just a heads up, it's foliage. I don't have individual names for most of these things. Actually, I think for any of these things. So I apologize in advance. I went for a walk and I found all of these on the nature strip. Some rules. Please do not dig out your neighbour's plants. Don't jump the fence and rack people's roses. If you're friendly with your neighbours, you can maybe ask them to say, look, can I have a couple of branches? You actually don't need much. And if you don't live near bush, you potentially could go somewhere where there is bush, especially in the Blue Mountains, because there's kind of bush everywhere. But this stuff literally was down my street, and I didn't have to walk that far. So, okay, I got a couple of these bad boys. I think two. I really love them. They're beautiful. They've got these sprouts. I don't know what they're called, that come off them. I love the leaves, feel like velvet. Beautiful. So I've got those guys. Oh, a bit more. These guys, they kind of hang down like this off the tree quite naturally and kind of got like little, I guess, little seed pods attached to them. They're really pretty. You'll see them everywhere. And they're really good fillers. A tip, you're wrapping this stuff around something, which means you want to pick plants that are flexible and have bend in them. Anything that's too rigid will just snap, or you won't be able to work with the wire. Okay, yep, some more, because yes, they are good fillers. Oh, another one of these guys. Yep, that was really popular. Just one lavender, just for a little pop of colour. My general rule of thumb with this stuff is, especially if it's native, please don't take the flower, because the flower's only going to be on your wreath alive for a couple of days and then it's going to die, whereas the bees get a lot more out of the flowers for a lot longer. So try to leave those bottle brushes and stuff on the plants. Don't know what this is. Or this, but I liked its little green leaves, and I don't know, it's a beautiful green. I actually love all of these greens, but this really is just a pop of green. So, actually, I know what this one is. So this is bottle brush. This comes off the bottle brush. I've got a really beautiful bottle brush down my street. The bottle brush colors are yellow and orange and pinky. It is the most insane, beautiful bottle brush. It's very tempting to take all the flowers, but I saw beautiful bees on them, so I'm just going to leave them there. But I do like their, foliage. Okay, this thing. It's got all these little seed pods on it, and I love it. It's really quite beautiful and cute, and it's a really nice, I think, little addition to the wreath. And finally, a little bit of rosemary. Rosemary is associated with Anzac Day. I don't know why, but I'm going to go find out because I'm really interested. And this guy down my street has 2 full bushes just out the front of his house. And it smells incredible and, of course, really good on lamb. So you could probably take a few of these off if you're having lamb on the weekend. Okay, so that's what I'm using. And now I am going to start. So at this point, you're thinking this is huge and this is small and this is true. But this is where you really, if you've got scissors, you can use scissors or secateurs, if that's what they're called. And you can strip the branches a little bit. So they're a little bit finer, a bit smaller, something that you want to work with. Yeah. Start with, I would say, your most pliant and flexible, right? So for me, I got a fair amount of this deliberately and just wind it around. Literally, you're winding it around, okay? Again, at this point in time, you probably don't need to worry too much about what it looks like. Although there are some things that you can have on hand, I think, to help guarantee like practically what this looks like and also visually. Glue guns, helpful. You could have little, not elastics, like a little, oh God, I don't know what they're called, but they help keep these things in place. I think winding does enough, but I mean, it's really about your imagination. At the end of the day, you could go out there, collect some gum nuts, some pine cones, and you can stick it on there. It would look amazing. Okay, so here I am working. Just gonna keep working this. So I'm just going to keep adding to this. The hook, as you can see, is up here. And as I go along, just play around with it. Tuck things in, pull things out, figure out where it goes. Check the balance and make sure you've got enough on both sides and at the top and bottom. And again, depending on what you're going for, it's really about, like for me, I love this, it's beautiful, but it's not enough. Like obviously I want more, but I wouldn't worry too much about tucking a lot of stuff in. As long as for me, I can see that it's a circle shape, I'm happy. But yeah, try not to work the branches too much, like be gentle. You are going round and round the wire, so be gentle because obviously you'll potentially, knock off your gum nuts and stuff. Okay, now, when you've got as much foliage as you want on there and you've kind of got the placement right, that's when you can start to tidy it up. Have a look at where things are going. Do you want them hanging off the side like that? Time to keep wrapping them, tucking them. But this is where I'm at the moment and I'm really happy with it. I don't know if you can see, but so up here, I've got that beautiful little pod. And on this side, I decided to put that little pop of color, that flower up here. But I wanted to sit over here a little bit more, so I'm going to move it. I've also got the rosemary up the top here. Now it's up to you. You can make it as crazy or as beautiful, as nuts, as thick, as full, as skinny as you like. So I'm going to just go along and tidy it up now. Guys, there you have it. That is my finished wreath. I love it. This is the first time I've even attempted something like it. I love wreaths. I love plants. I love native wreaths, and this was honestly so easy to do, and it looks beautiful. Like, I don't know if it translates very well here on camera, but it's just, I'm going to take some photos of it lying down and on the wall, and I'll add it at the end of this film because I just think they're lovely. Have a go, hey, please. And if you end up making one, take a photo of it, post it in the comments, or send it to us. I'd love to see what you come up with. Go crazy. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for watching this video and hanging out with me today. And I'm going to hang this on my door, and I will be commemorating Anzac Day a little bit differently like everyone this year. But I will be remembering our fallen soldiers and everything they did for us.